Bongani Kumbula. I am a photographer and a writer. Let me tell you a few stories about how I ended up on this awesome stage with, such fine company. Basically, I got to a stage where when you're in Zimbabwe, and you're like, okay, I can handle all of this. I've got the inverter, I've got the borehole, I can survive whatever it is that's going on. And then the economy did whatever it did after elections last year, and I got very, very depressed, and I was like, oh, damn it, what am I going to do with myself? So then I decided to start writing a book. I'm like, if the world's ending, might as well do whatever's on my bucket list. And started writing a book. I do this kind of gonzo Hunter S. Thompson thing where I involve myself in my stories. So if somebody reads about it, at least they'll know Bongani's at the end of it. They can't cut me out of it. The art benefits me. I'm still part of it. So then basically I started doing that, and then through that I found a certain catharsis. I started feeling better about my overall situation by documenting it. And in January we had a shutdown, which is what these photographs are of. This is the shutdown in January, the 3-day stairway. And I was downtown with my curator called Valerie writing something. I'm like, might as well go take some photographs of the streets. Did my thing, walked, navigated it, scoped where the cops and the army people were. And then I'm like, okay, since they're there, I can take a photograph around this corner and get away doing it. And the place looked really beautiful. This is on a Monday at about 3 p.m., downtown Samora Michel. And that got me thinking, people were upset and they were protesting, and that's why they stayed away. And I was like, how could we have used those 3 days more productively as Zimbabweans to, show our frustration? And I was thinking, why don't we have a 3-day go to work? Let's go to work and work for free and help out Zimbabweans. And then I started broaching this idea to my friends, being like, hey guys, let's go to free. You're a doctor, let's go find some people that need to be looked at. You're an accountant, let's get some books and balance them, and I'll take some photographs, I'll talk some artsy people, Tariro can jam her guitar, and people were like, no, Bongani, that's stupid, we can't work for free. And I'm like, but we've already lost 3 days of productivity. Why don't we do something better and try to fix the issues that get to us? And the more I broached this subject with people, they weren't really feeling it, they weren't jumping on it, and I realized, you know what, Bongani, if you want to be the change, you got to start with yourself. So I said to myself, how can I use my days if I was going to do something for 3 days creatively and productively? And I said to myself, let me go on the streets and live on the streets for 3 days. And during those 3 days, I can get 10,000 words and add them to my book and finish it. I can take some photographs, and I don't know what will happen, but by the time I've lived on the streets for 3 days, I'll be able to empathize more with what the people at the bottom are experiencing, which is what I think the people at the top have forgotten about. So then I said to myself, I'll stay on the streets. I gave myself some rules. Some of the rules were that, I had a $30 budget, like $30 US. Back then, that $30 translated to 90 bond notes. So you guys do the maths on which time of the year that was. And I had my people at the gallery, the first floor gallery, they were going to keep my camera and my laptop so that, I don't get robbed or anything damaged that way. I had friends that were like, hey, we'll meet up with you and give you lunch. I had all the things that keep you from actually having to live on the streets full time. That's a nice photograph. That's great Zimbabwe, which makes me wonder, when was Zimbabwe great? When will it be great? It's different for each person depending on how you ask it. But when was Zimbabwe great, and when can we make Zimbabwe great again? I find funny company when I use words like that, but that's me sitting on it, looking down at it. And so then I said to myself, I'll stay on the streets. And then I took a taxi, and then I got into it, and then the first thing about being on the streets is that, now what do you do with yourself? Because, you got 72 hours. It's quite a lot of time. So I procrastinated, I looked around, where am I going to sleep tonight? What am I going to do to kill time? It was a Tuesday, so I was like, half-price Tuesday. With my $10 budget, I can go watch a movie. So I went and I watched the movie to kill time until about 10 o'clock. And then I'm like, it's still half-price Tuesday. And if I walk to Samora Michel food court, I can get a pizza and kill some more time and not have to sleep on the streets. So I went to Samora pizza place. I had some pizza. And then I was like, okay, I've done a photo shoot close to Parinyatwa, and I know if I find a data in there, I'll be pretty safe. Because before I went on the streets, people started telling me their horror stories. My friend's brother got robbed, and he was left butt naked on the side of the road. I don't know why. They even stole his underwear. Why? What are you going to do with it? But they did that to him. Another friend's like, they removed his teeth. They just didn't rob him. They removed his teeth. And I'm like, why would you do that? But anyhow, so these were the fears that were going through my heart at about 11:30 after I'd finished my pizza. And I started walking. And then while I was walking, I was like, might as well walk down Chinamano Avenue because it's known for having sex workers. And I'm like, that will be interesting. If they interact with me, I could add that to my book and my story will be more interesting. So then I walked down Chinamano Avenue and one of them engaged me. She was like, hey, do you have a lighter? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, help me start a fire. It's cold. So I'm like, cool. So then I started a fire and then she's like, are you a customer? And I'm like, no, I happen to be living on the streets for the 3 days, you fine young lady. What do you do? And then she told me what she did and we swapped stories because there has to be a transference. So then she told me about her 10 years on the streets, her lost love, and I told her about my heartache and why I couldn't get her services because I'm writing a book and people will read it and I'm bad at lying and if I don't tell the truth, people will know something happened. While I was talking to her, I think I was also killing her business because a lot of people drove by and didn't stop. Maybe they thought I was a pimp. A few more ladies came because it was cold, and then we had about 4 of these ladies, and we were having our chat, and then they were like, you can't sleep on the streets, Bongani, you'll get robbed, it's dangerous, come sleep with us. You don't have to do anything with us, but come sleep with us. And I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. So then I went to this small room, very, very tiny, maybe like 2 of these going that way, and then there was a double bed here and a double bed there, and 2 of them slept here and 2 of them slept here, and one put the blankets on the floor and we slept there. Bongani and 5 ladies. And yeah, they kept me safe off the streets like another famous guy. Not his name, Jesus. He hung around with prostitutes. They kept me, sex workers. They kept me safe and off the street. I don't consider them sex workers. I consider them to be my friends because they looked after me during that time. At 5:30 in the morning, they were like, so what are you going to do with yourself? And I'm like, go to the streets again. And I went and I sat in Harare Gardens to kill time because the gallery only opens at 10 a.m., which is when I could get the rest of my daily budget. So then I sat in the gardens and I saw people bath and I'm like, yeah, I might need one of those soon. And then I went to the gallery and I made a sign. The sign said, $1 for your dream. I should keep pressing this thing because otherwise you guys look at boring photos. The sign said $1 for your dream and I walked around downtown Harare asking people to tell me their dreams in exchange for $1. The first 2 were easy. The first guy was a photographer, so then he's like, hey, can I take your photograph? And then that was dope. And he was even a better photographer than I was because I was using some tripod and the image that came out was really nice. And his dream was that blind people could see because he's a visual artist and he wished that people could see like he can. The second guy was a fashion designer. He started off with 50 cents. Then he got himself a little table. Now he's got a store where he sells his clothes. He goes to Zambia to get clothes and brings them back. And this year he hopes that he'll be able to go to Kenya to get clothes. Those are the easy ones. Then I went deep downtown, and that's when things got real, because people were like, where'd you get that money? Thief, mbavo, what you gonna do with our dreams? You're gonna probably do mutu and juju. So for the next about an hour, I had to struggle interacting with my fellow brethren, my Zimbos, trying to get their dreams in exchange for $1. And what I would have done better to do was just engage with people and ask them what their dreams are, rather than try and monetize what it is, because how do you put a value on that? And by that time, I felt really comfortable on the street. I never finished one meal. Everything I bought, somebody always asked if they could eat it with me, or if somebody, like a friend, came and bought me lunch, I'd give away my budget for lunch away to people. And by that night, I felt comfortable enough to walk the streets. And that's when I started this journey of documenting Harare, the NASA building, all of this stuff, making Harare look beautiful. And then I just started documenting the streets because I feel like even though I'm protesting, through my protest, all of us as Zimbabweans can take pride in our streets, in our area. Interacting with the people on the streets also opened up my eyes to stuff that I become numb to after living in the suburbs for so long. You become insulated. So it allowed me a great opportunity to interact with people. And so then basically by the end of it, what I had come to the realization of was that I have a lot more to learn. I should go to the rural areas and continue this, maybe go to Mbare, Epworth, and then play the game a bit more and interact with people. And through posting up photographs and letting people know what I did, they've all jumped on and be like, hey, Bongani, we're keen to work for free for 3 days because I showed them the way. So the next time when people start feeling upset beaten down by inflation or whatever it is. You guys need to think about creative ways to solve our issues. We've already gotten to the stage where we've got generators and boreholes, inverters, and all of those things at our house. We need to take that mentality outside of our fences into our